If you could back in time and meet Martin Luther King Jr., what would you say to him? What would you tell him about life in 2021? If I could go back in time and question Martin Luther King Jr., I will ask him what his advice would be to the world about the crisis we are facing in the areas of immigration, racial discrimination, climate change, and political divide. What I can say about 2021 is that families are risking everything by undertaking long and dangerous journeys in the hopes of finding safety and stability in our country or in a different country. The most affected group are children who are often separated from parents, losing access to education and health care. They often become victims of criminal abuse and racial discrimination. Racial discrimination and civil unrest are causing tension to increasingly rise. We're fighting for equality for people of color. Many still feel that sometimes they are judged as being bad people due to the color of their skin or their immigration status. They are at times treated differently, and we have seen it for decades. We have seen protests about police brutality over the last few years that have devastated communities. We must make sure we hold those in power responsible when innocent lives are taken. We are also dealing with a political divide that is destroying the fabric of our society. Leaders are more focused on their parties than doing what is right for the people of this country. Some politicians are more concerned with winning an election by any means possible than worry about the consequences to our countries. Another known issue that is also affecting people around the world is climate change. It is affecting the present and the future of our children. So many families depending in agriculture for their livelihood, but we are seeing more frequent and intense weather. Every day on the news, television, and radio, the natural disasters are happening and we aren't prepared for them. We have seen during the COVID pandemic how difficult it can get when stores are low in supplies. And with these changes in weather, this food shortage may become more frequent. In response to the problems, I told him about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. reply. My advice to the world about the crisis we are facing with all these issues will be that we are all in this together, and we need to fight for peace and human rights. I fought for civil rights for this nation to achieve social equality with no violent protest for this nation. There is nothing greater in all the world than freedom. No matter what your religion beliefs are, we must come together as one. We must respect each other's values and we must work to be united as a people. Let me remind you that one of my greatest speeches was, I have a dream for this nation. However, this country is in the hands of each one of us. As we live every day to realize that dream for society.